Last hour, Thomas Frank sparks full-scale revolt at Spurs after attacking the fans, pressure now reaching levels the club can no longer ignore. Welcome back to Tottenham News Today channel. Tottenham find themselves drowning in a storm of anger, confusion and disbelief, and Thomas Frank is at the centre of it all. The pressure on the Danish manager has erupted to unprecedented levels after the home defeat to Fulham, a night that many supporters are calling the breaking point of his tenure. The atmosphere at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium was toxic, emotional and raw, and Frank's post-match comments only poured fuel on an already raging fire. TEAMtalk has confirmed that for now, ENIC have no intention of sacking the manager. The ownership group insists they are not prepared to make a snap decision, arguing that the club must remain calm and strategic despite the chaos surrounding the results. But calm is the last word anyone would use to describe the mood among the supporters. The Fulham loss, a 2-0 collapse inside 6 minutes, shattered whatever patience was still lingering around N17. And then came the moment that detonated everything. When Frank publicly criticised the supporters who booed Guglielmo Vicario for his catastrophic error, the reaction was instant. Fans were stunned that a manager could be so detached from the reality they are living every week. They pay the highest ticket prices in the Premier League. They watched their goalkeeper gift Fulham a goal. They saw the team fall apart with barely 5 minutes gone. And Frank's message was that booing was unacceptable. To many, it felt like a manager scolding the wrong people. The outrage was volcanic. Inside the stadium, the mood turned from frustration to fury. Online, fan groups erupted. Supporters who had been calling for patience suddenly declared they had reached their limit. The feeling is that Frank has lost the dressing room, lost the tactical identity, and now, finally, lost the supporters. And former Tottenham Ramon Vega did not hold back when speaking to TalkSport. Vega delivered a brutal assessment of Frank's management, claiming that the Danish coach is changing his mind every 2 seconds, and that his constant tactical shifts have created uncertainty, confusion and insecurity among the squad. Vega argued that players need clear structure, conviction and consistency. 3 things he believes Thomas Frank has completely failed to provide. According to Vega, Ange Postecoglou had flaws, but he had courage. He had identity. He had conviction. Frank, in contrast, looks like a manager trying to please everyone while pleasing no one, a man who has lost his authority and no longer commands belief inside the dressing room. Vega added that the players' body language in recent matches makes the situation obvious. They are lost, directionless and emotionally disconnected from the manager's ideas. The implication is devastating. The squad don't trust the plan because they don't think Frank has one. The former defender went even further, saying he does not believe Frank has the character required to manage a club with Tottenham's expectations and pressure. In his words, he hasn't got the courage, he hasn't got the presence, he hasn't got the authority. They are accusations that resonate strongly among sections of the fan base who now feel the club is drifting under a manager who cannot control the situation. While ENIC insists that Frank's job is safe for the moment, the fury among supporters is no longer simmering, it is boiling uncontrollably. Every match feels like another step towards an inevitable breaking point. Frank needed the fan base on his side more than ever. Instead, with one poorly judged comment, he may have pushed them beyond repair. Tottenham insist they will remain patient. The supporters insist they have run out of patience. And between those two opposing truths, Thomas Frank stands alone, squeezed, criticised, doubted and clinging on as the pressure crushes down harder than ever. Spurs are circling with real purpose as the January window approaches, and the next major battle appears to be centred around Brighton's powerhouse midfielder, Carlos Baleba. With Manchester United dragging their feet once again, Spurs sense the perfect moment to make a decisive move for one of the Premier League's most explosive young talents. Inside Hotspur Way, there is growing confidence that this is the right time to act. Baleba has been on Tottenham's radar for months, monitored closely since his breakout year on the south coast. Brighton knew they had unearthed something special when they brought him in back in 2023, and although his form this season has dipped slightly, the raw ability remains undeniable. But what has truly caught Tottenham's attention is the situation unfolding behind the scenes. Manchester United, who pushed heavily for Baleba in the summer, have cooled their interest, shifting focus towards Elliot Anderson and João Gomes instead. That hesitation may be all Spurs need. Reports from Court Offside suggest Brighton will not entertain anything below £87 million for the 20-year-old, a figure that reflects both his long-term potential and their well-earned reputation for tough negotiating. It's a price that will make the deal far from straightforward, but Tottenham believe the opportunity outweighs the risk, especially if it means landing a midfielder who could anchor their project for the next decade. Baleba is highly regarded for his power, aggression, and rare ability to drive through midfield lines with ease. Scouts see him as a future central reference point, a player capable of dictating games physically and technically. Though he has struggled to hit the same heights this campaign after his failed Old Trafford switch, decision-makers at Spurs view this dip as something that can be corrected under the right coaching and environment. What makes this chase even more intriguing is how Thomas Frank views his midfield options heading into 2025. With Spurs lacking a true disruptor who can dominate transitions and cover ground in the way Thomas Frank's system demands, reinforcements are no longer just preferable, they're essential. Baleba fits the exact profile Spurs have been missing, and the club are unwilling to watch another top Premier League prospect slip into a rival's hands. Sources describe Tottenham and Manchester United as the two clubs to monitor closely in this developing saga, but the mood has shifted sharply in recent weeks. United's indecision has created a pathway Spurs simply cannot ignore. For the first time, Tottenham believe they can genuinely beat a traditional giant to a marquee signing, and doing so in January would send shockwaves across the league. As things stand, Brighton are prepared for bids. Spurs are weighing up their strategy. United are distracted elsewhere. And Carlos Baleba is waiting potentially for a club willing to make him their midfield cornerstone, rather than just another option on a list. That's all for today's update. If you enjoyed this video and want to stay up to date with everything Tottenham, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a story. Don't forget to drop a like and share this video with other Spurs fans. Together we can keep growing the Tottenham News Today community. Thanks for watching, and as always, come on you Spurs!